Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Her in the Huddle, WOVU's Look at Sports, featuring the First Lady of Sports, Rachel Hill.
Hey, what's up? What's up? This is your girl Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and you are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. And I am here with my girl Cleveland Kate. It is a wonderful day in the city. It is about almost 60 degrees, and I'm feeling right. And we got a lot to get into. Originally, we was gonna start off with basketball, but we're gonna start off with football because there's a lot going on. So I'm going to get how Kate feels about this. Big news. We're going to get to the Tom Brady news in just a second, but want to get with you about the release of Jarvis Landry today. Kate, how are you feeling about that?
I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that we replaced him with Amari Cooper, because really that's what we did this week, right? We made a move to trade and got Amari Cooper. And then we just released Jarvis. And I understand it was a money move and it's about salary cap and freeing up space to spend on what you want to spend on. But he was, aside from his production, which was down a little bit when he was injured and then when Baker was injured, aside from that, he is one of the rare quality locker room guys that you want to have on a team, a veteran who does things the right way, who handles his business, who's very good for the young guys to be around. And now he's not here. And maybe it was a mutual thing. And maybe his buddy Odell said, come to LA. And maybe he'll end up in LA. I don't know where he's going to end up. But it makes me sad. I don't think Amari Cooper's best years are in front of him. I think they are clearly behind him. I don't know if this, I thought they might be going wide receiver in the draft. But with the way the rookie contracts are scheduled and the minimal, in the grand scheme of things, the minimal amount of money involved in a rookie contract for a wide receiver, you could have kept Jarvis and picked somebody up. So they didn't release him to then go draft a wide receiver. So I don't know. I'm very sad. I like Jarvis a lot, and I'm very, very sad to see him gone.
Well, there possibly could be a reunion. I obviously there are going to be some suitors, but there possibly could be a reunion if things don't work out with some of those other teams. Jarvis is a locker room guy, but you weren't able to get that much production out of him this year, especially from your receivers. So that's.
But you didn't. You know what? You didn't get it from any of the receivers on this team, or really the tight ends, which is why I think they put the franchise tag on David Njoku, because they're not really sure what his free market value is. Because this was a weird season with Baker being hurt so much and then playing injured for so much of the season. Some giant critter just walked by my window. Kara, what was that? Oh, I think it's a cat. It scared the crap out. Over here. I'm going. It's on the side of the house. It's a big gray thing. It's a giant critter.
Are y'all okay over there?
I just saw the tail. I don't know what it was. It freaked me out.
Are y'all okay over there? Do y'all need help? Do we need to blink?
I think we're okay. Blink. My daughter went out. I'm getting the camera ready because if it attacks her, I'm going to get video.
Blink if you need help.
What was it?
Right here.
The fluffiest cat I ever saw in my life.
Go get it.
We'll get it that way. It was great.
Oh, it was a gray fluffy cat. If anyone's missing a gray fluffy cat, it's in my backyard. Well, it's now in my front yard.
Do y'all have like a North Ridgeville group on Facebook?
We have Pete the Parrot. You want to message Pete the Parrot?
Oh my God.
What is it called? Who's that dude on Facebook? Isn't that his name, Pete the Parrot? You message him on Facebook that you lost your animal with the picture and he puts it up out there and tens of hundreds of thousands of people see it.
So hopefully the family reunites with their...
Sam the Parrot, that's his name. Sam the Parrot.
Well, hopefully that family can reunite with their cat that's the size of a dog.
Please. Cats, dogs you got to worry about. Cats come and go as they please. It'll go home when it wants to go home.
Yeah, but that cat out there living good. You said it's fat. You said it's
huge.
Fat.
It's
huge. Out there living good then.
Big old fat fluffy cat. I thought it was like a raccoon or something when it first went by, or like a rat, but apparently it's a cat.
A rat?
It's a muskrat or a gopher or a prairie dog. I don't know what I thought it was. I didn't think it was a cat. An ROUS. It might have been an ROUS.
What's the ROUS?
That's a reference to a movie called The Princess Bride that I don't think you've seen, but you don't want to get me started on all the movies you haven't seen, Rachel Hill.
I actually have seen that movie. I just don't remember the lines from it other than the one famous one or whatever. What's that famous line? As you wish. Yeah.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I have it on a coffee cup.
I do.
It's in that cupboard over there.
I've
ROUSs
seen
are rodents
Princess
of unusual
Bride.
size. They were attacked in the fire swamp by ROUSs.
Okay, I've seen Princess Bride twice in my life, so that's good
Girl,
for
I
me.
saw it. I've probably seen it 200 times.
So you're not too happy with the pickup of Amari Cooper?
I mean, I don't hate it. I just don't. So what's funny is what showed up on my Facebook memories a couple days ago was the day that they announced that we had made a deal to get OBJ. Because I was in Pat Catan's, which
Yeah,
has since
that came up
closed,
on mine too.
when I heard the announcement in my headphones on my phone, and I started screaming with excitement like a crazy woman, and was subsequently banned from Pat Catan's after I scared a bunch of little old ladies. And that memory came up on my Facebook. I think it was Saturday. And I thought to myself, not the same reaction I had when I heard we got Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
I
yay.
think, yeah, I think
And I
having
don't
a
know if it's
tepid
because
reaction to
OBJ
him.
wasn't what I wanted him to be here. You know what I mean? So like I was all excited and then he wasn't all that. Or if it's that I've learned to temper my excitement now when we get people. Or if it's just that as someone who plays a lot of fantasy football in a lot of leagues, I keep an eye on all the receivers. I look at the points, the yards, the touchdowns. He ain't impressed me the last couple of years. I think his best years are behind him, and now we have him. And he wasn't on my list of young, exciting wide receivers that I was hoping we'd go after to give Baker a whoopee, to give Baker somebody that would be here with him for a couple of years that he could build some chemistry with. I thought it was happening with Hollywood Higgins, but that fell apart. And then there was a chance for, Schwartz. And now that seems to not have worked well. And I don't know if that's just because Baker was hurt this year. Like I said, it's so hard to use anything that happened this year to judge what's going to happen in the future. We need a wide receiver. I wouldn't mind Chris Olave in the second round. I wouldn't mind Garrett Wilson. They're probably both going to go in the first round, though. I don't know what the Browns are going to do as far as first round goes and where they're picking. We're picking a little better than we should be picking. We should be picking way down late 20s. We're picking a lot earlier than that. I don't know if they're going to go offensive, defensive lineman. Offensive lineman would be a good option. I think we're finally good from the safety and corner positions. Wide receiver is definitely a position to need. I just don't know that one of the top three are going to be available when we pick. And frankly, in the first round, if you're not getting a top three wide receiver, you might as well wait, because after that, there's a huge jump, a drop, and you can get the same quality guy in the second or third round. So you want to look offensive line, I think. I don't know. I don't know that we didn't pay too much for Cooper, so I don't have a problem with what we paid for him. I just don't think he's the one single answer to our wide receiver issues. I don't think it's, we have Amari Cooper, so we don't have to worry about the wide receiver position now. I just don't think he's that guy. I thought that when we got
still
Odell.
have to worry about the wide receiver position because you don't have a number two.
But I thought that when we got
number
Odell.
two.
I'm like, we got Jarvis, we got Odell, we good. Now we don't even have Jarvis.
We definitely don't have Odell. But supposedly some of the teams that are interested in Jarvis that's been reported are the Packers, the Chiefs, and the Patriots. So that sounds like, he could have the option to go to some really good teams. So I maybe.
So the Chiefs and the Patriots would both be good spots for him. The Packers situation, I guess since Aaron Rodgers is staying, that works.
Yeah, I think so. Be a number two to what's his name? I can't think off the top of my head.
Devontae.
Thank you. Yes, to be a number two to him, or maybe number three, because is Jarvis two material still, or what?
Yes, he is. He's better as two material. He also would be good in Kansas City, where when you got a lot of guys on Kelsey, he can get freed up. He would also be very good, frankly, in LA doing what Odell does. If they're double teaming Cooper Kupp, that leaves Odell free. It would leave Jarvis free. He's better when he's not the number one, if that makes sense. And frankly, he's a better blocker than some of the number one wide receivers are. So, I don't know that he'd work in the Patriots. I think they need someone younger there, but I could see him with the Packers or the Chiefs. Chiefs is where I'd if I had to put money down today and those were the three options, I'd pick the Chiefs for him. I think that's the best situation for him. at this point in his career and at his age and with what they have and what they need and what he brings, I feel like the Chiefs is the best fit for him.
Yeah, that'd be great for him, to constantly, to be able to play with a surefire, Hall of Famer, Patrick Mahomes, and a great quarterback. So I think, obviously him being released is going to be to his benefit because the good teams that want to pick him up. Willie says that we will hate it with Amari Cooper soon. Trust him with that. So that's not good. George says, evening, ladies. We mentioned we need a wide receiver. Will one of those Ohio State products be there at number 13? Willie is declaring that Olave will go to the Raiders. Willie, how you going to insert your team up in there? I can't remember where the Raiders are.
He's a homer. Right, he's a homer, and that's the only reason he's saying Olave is going to the Raiders. I don't know. There's a lot of teams that pick before Vegas that need a receiver. And have a young quarterback that they can, a lot of the teams are looking at what happened last year with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And then they look down at Jacksonville. And while Jacksonville was not good this year, they had an awful lot of problems that had nothing to do with what was going on the field. And Trevor Lawrence has his receiver there. So they're trying to create, I think, you and I grew up with, Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison. Back in the day, Dan Marino had like super duper, like each of these quarterbacks had their favorite receivers. Brady's really the exception to that rule because he could throw to anybody. Really, you can plug and play anybody from in the offensive skill positions for the Patriots for the years that he was there. But a lot of these really successful teams, Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, they're looking for that dynamic duo of quarterback receiver combo. And I don't know that is going to happen for somebody that's, 5, 6, 7, 8 years into their career. They're looking for someone young to match up with Mac Jones in New England or to give, some, even Darnold in Carolina needs some help, right? He started off really well. The Jets was not a good fit for him. He started off really well there, and then it started to taper away as the defenses got a better look at what Carolina had to offer. You get him a good receiver, a young, somebody on Olave or a Garrett Wilson, and that changes Carolina's, my prediction for them for this upcoming season. So I don't know that that's what Vegas needs more than anything else. I think they need other things. So, I just think Willie's being a homer.
I know you're not too happy about the addition about Amari Cooper, but, maybe Baker and Amari Cooper could be one of those combos as well.
I don't hate it. It's just like I said,
I'm not
jumping up and down like, yes, that solves my wide receiver problem. Now we can just grab somebody and we'll be fine. I don't trust. I don't have a good feeling that he's what we need. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't jump up and down too with this trade, but it is what it is, so far, he's a solid, wide receiver. So, now the onus is on Baker to show what he has because this is Baker's last year. I mean, the rumors are getting hot. I think so.
Is it?
I think so. What you gonna do about that tattoo? You gonna cover up the number 6 if he leaves?
Never. Never.
If they trade,
I'll leave my ex-boyfriend's name on me forever.
I want to get.
I didn't put stripes on it for the Super Bowl. I'm not getting rid of the 6. I lost the bet. I put it on there. I believed. Maybe it'll remind me not to believe. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add a 1 and make it a 16. Do we know any 16s that I like? I don't know. Maybe I'll add a 6 and make it 66 for Gene Hickerson, which is probably what I should have done in the first place because he's a classic that never goes out of style. I want to know why you think Deshaun Watson is in the conversation to come to Cleveland because that troubles me. It troubles me on a lot of levels.
The Browns are, testing the waters on that. And, they want, is a trade package good enough, though? I think it could be too much. I think Houston could want too much for Deshaun Watson. But, what we're hearing, and I'm sure you heard it too, is that they're in the pursuit of Deshaun Watson. That's been confirmed in multiple sources.
I've heard there have been conversations, but I think there's a lot of teams who are having conversations. But there's a couple issues that they're going to have to get past. The obvious issue is the 22 counts that are pending right now and what his legal status is and when that's going to all be straightened out. Once that's done, You then have the league sanctions. The league is waiting to see how that all shakes out to decide how many games he's going to be suspended. And I struggle because when Kareem Hunt came here, there were an awful lot of women who had a fit about the Browns signing Kareem Hunt. And it was one incident, and you could argue all kinds of things about what happened in that one incident. But what you couldn't argue was his remorse. And what you can't argue now is that he has proven himself and he has changed his ways from that one incident. As far as I'm aware, Deshaun Watson still claims these 22 things aren't true, isn't owning it, isn't apologizing for it. And maybe they're not true. And maybe he'll be found innocent of everything. And then we can go on with our day. I still find the number of accusations as a woman to be troubling. And I don't think I'm going to be okay if he ends up on my team. I don't know what that means. I just don't think I'm going to be okay with him playing here. I would rather he didn't. I would rather he played somewhere else so that I don't even have to deal with it and answer the questions. And Baker needs a year of being healthy. I blame Kevin Stefanski for last year as much as I blame Baker. Kevin should have sat Baker down after that Thursday night game. I've said it before. Maybe I'll have that tattooed in script on my back. You and I were at that Thursday night game that Case Keenum started against Denver Broncos. And Baker sat out, and he should have sat out until he was completely fully healed and healthy, and letting him play. The coach letting him go, oh, I'm fine, put me back in. And then letting him back in just caused a snowball effect that ruined the entire season last year and affected how we're grading all of the players on that team as far as if we want to move forward with them or not, and what we need in the offseason. I don't know what we need from a wide receiver and tight end standpoint. Maybe I'm good now. I don't know.
I don't think we're good, but we got to take a
I got Njoku, I got Hooper, I got, what's that other guy, Harrison? I got three good tight ends. For wide receivers, I got Hollywood Higgins. I got Njoku, Hooper, and Harrison as tight ends. On receivers, we now have Amari Cooper. We got Hollywood Higgins. We got Anthony Schwartz. There's a couple other guys on the running back field. We re-signed Jackson, right? Or Johnson, Dearness Johnson, and Kareem and Chubb. So, I feel like we might be okay moving forward, but I'm not 100% because of what a mess last year was. So maybe I need another wide receiver, but I'd like to draft one. Like I said, I'd love to have either one of the Ohio State boys at 13. I just don't know if either will be there. There's a couple. There's a Jelani Woods tight end out of Virginia who I would absolutely take at 13, but I'm crazy about doing things like that. So.
We're going to take a break right quick, and we're going to get into that because I want to know if you're going to take them over one of the Ohio State wide receivers. So you're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for an opportunity to serve others? Are you looking for an exciting career with great pay and benefits? If you answered yes to these questions, consider working at the City of Cleveland in law enforcement. As the son of a cop, I know firsthand how rewarding a career in law enforcement is. The Cleveland Division of Police offers advancement and a competitive salary. We are seeking a diverse group of young and motivated individuals who truly reflect our community. Call 216-623-5233 to speak with our recruiter or go to governmentjobs.com/careers/Cleveland. I encourage you to apply today.
Yo, Siri, who has the hottest app in the city?
WOVU 95.9 FM.
Siri, tell them why WOVU 95.9 FM got the hottest app right now.
WOVU streams at 192 kilobits per second, giving the best sound in the city.
WOVU has a new sound coming out our app right now. The only one in the city at 192 kilobytes per second. Listen, man, it is going down. That's what you're telling me, Siri?
That's right, DJ Chris Styles. You already know what it is.
Listen, check out our new sound right now. Go to your mobile store app, download WOVU 95.9 FM and check us out right now. Tell everybody, listen, we coming at you. This is the Burton Bell Card Community Radio Station. You already know what it is. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. You remember, you can always give us a call. You can call us at 216-271-0959. You can listen to us on your regular radio at 95.9 FM. You can listen online at WOVU.org. And then also, don't forget to download that WOVU app so you can listen to us on the go. And Kate, right before we went to break, you were talking about a wide receiver. Did you say from Virginia or Virginia Tech?
Virginia, tight end.
Okay.
Jelani Woods.
Okay. So another tight end you want to add to this roster?
Yes.
I mean, I know you can carry as many as
I got
you want
Njoku,
to.
I got Hooper, I got Harrison. I don't know if I'm going to have all of them. I don't know. I know obviously I'm going to have Njoku, and I believe we're still under contract with Hooper. They haven't finished letting people go. And this kid, from what I saw at the combine, could end up being really amazing. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of good wide receivers as well. I just don't know that we'll get any at 13. Any of at least the top 3 from my mind.
So you think they'll be gone?
I think this is going to be an interesting year because so at the combine, the scouts and everything, they do the interviews, they do all the events that they do the measurements and stuff, and they get scores and rankings, and it's an 8-point scale, right? From 0 to 8. 8's down to like 6.8 is guys that are going to go in the first, second round in the draft. 7s are going to be perennial Pro Bowlers. Down to 6.8, 6.7 are guys that will be starters day one, and then it goes down from there, right, to the guys that need some time to develop or whatever. There were only 8 guys ranked as starting caliber players for this year's draft class. Like from jump, they're going to be starters. 8 in that 6.7 and up category. There were no 7s. This is not a good draft class. It's not a good draft class for quarterbacks. So if you need a quarterback, good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very good draft class so of the 8 top guys, there was only 1 skill position player. The rest of them were offensive skill position. The rest of them were offensive linemen, defensive linemen, corners, a center, those kind of positions. So, it's not a great draft. So the question then becomes, what do you need versus what's available? So I got a safety, a defensive end, an offensive tackle, edge rusher, cornerback, center were the only players that scored a 6.7 or above in the grades that they were given by the scouts. That's not a lot compared to some stuff that we've seen in prior years. 7 of them. Sorry, I thought there were 8. And then when it comes to the wide receivers, let's go look at wide receivers. The highest rated wide receiver was a 6.5. That's Garrett Wilson. Even the tight end that I like isn't rated that high. So you got Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, Jamison Williams out of Alabama. And you know how I feel about Alabama. And then Chris Olave were your top 4 wide receivers. And I don't know who will still be there at 13. I think 3 of them will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the teams, picking at the top, looking at what they need, looking at what's available in this class. It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting draft. So usually you can figure it out of the top 10. You're going to be 3 quarterbacks in there, right? I don't know that there will be a quarterback in the top 10. Depending on how desperate they are, or if people find one, then they love him. Malik Willis out of Liberty and Kenny Pickett out of Pitt were amazing. They interviewed really well. Their stats their combine scores and stuff were really good. Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati is another one. I don't know if he'll get looked at the way he should get looked at. And then Matt Corral out of Mississippi. I don't know if some of those kids will get looked at the way they'll get looked, because they're not Power 5 schools. They're not the big, they're not teams aside from Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati. They're not teams at schools that everybody really watches and is familiar with, right? They're from like minor schools. But that Malik Willis is He's like Lamar Jackson 2.0. If I have to compare him to someone else, he has the potential to be another Lamar Jackson. He can already run the ball. In his last year in college, he was getting better with his accuracy and making his decision making. He doesn't make the best decisions when he's under pressure if he doesn't have time. And I saw quite a few scouts from wearing black and gold at his interview session and watching his workouts and stuff. So don't be surprised if he doesn't end up in our division. But they don't pick before we do. So we'll see if they move. I can see someone wanting one of these 4 guys enough to move up to go get them, just to be done with it and get it. But it's not, I don't know that any of these guys are going to be ready to start next year. And a couple of them are going to have to. It's almost like when the Browns draft a quarterback, it's not guys that are ready to start, but because of the way the team is laid out, they kind of have to. I don't know that Pittsburgh has another option at quarterback. Whoever they get may have to start day one, may have to earn that starting job in training camp and suck it up and just go day one.
Where's Mr. Trubisky going again?
I don't know. Where is Trubisky going?
I thought he just signed with the team.
He signed with the Steelers.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, didn't they
But-
get their quarterback? They're going to have a
I
quarterback
got nothing but love
competition.
for Mitch. But you can go after Malik Willis and say, all right, we got Mitch. Mitch will get us through this year. Malik can take some time to learn and figure it out and whatnot. And then if the Mitch Trubisky experiment doesn't work, we've got a plan B, which I like. I don't know that the Bears was the best situation for Mitch right out of the gate when he got drafted. I don't know that Matt Nagy was the right coach for him. He still had a higher winning percentage than a lot of the other quarterbacks who came out in the year that he came out. People give him a lot of grief for what went on in Chicago, but that wasn't all his fault. The Bears were a hot mess. In a lot of ways, the Bears are a hot mess. So I still like Malik Willis to Pittsburgh. And frankly, he might, if nobody goes to get him, he might still be there. Kenny Pickett's another one. He's played at Pitt. He's familiar with the weather. He will tell you he's ready to start. And I will tell you from as much as I watched of his film that he needs another year. All 4 of these guys need another year. Even Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati, for as high octane as that offense was and as much as they did down there, they did a lot of NFL style schemes and sets. I still don't think he's ready for the size of the players that he's going to have to face on the defensive side of the ball. So
yeah, they stuttered against Alabama, which is full of, pretty much NFL draft picks. But Cincinnati was in a position to win that game, and Alabama wasn't running away with it at all. So Cincinnati had every opportunity almost to win that game. So, it's unfortunate that they didn't pull it out. But, he was one of the reasons why they just couldn't get it together and in a rhythm offensively. So they ended up losing that game. Oh my God. What are you about to eat?
You also got to consider that was a very long season for those kids. I think in Alabama, they're trained to play that many games in a season. Ain't none of those Cincinnati players played as many games in a season as they played last year. And that takes a toll on you. We talk about it more in respect with rookies when they hit that rookie wall around right after Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, they start to hit that wall. Because they've been playing for so much and they're not used to this long of a season. And then they're used to having a bunch of weeks off before a bowl game, which is really just, it's a bowl game. It's like the Pro Bowl. It ain't serious. Like, how many of them don't even bother to play in their bowl games anymore? So I think that factored into it a little bit for Cincinnati as well. Girl, I ain't never been a Luke Fickell fan. He did really good things with that team. So I can't complain about what he did with the talent he had. I'm just saying, I think there were more factors that went into Alabama's win than I don't think it was just Nick Saban was better than Fickell or their players were better than Cincinnati's players. I think there were other things that went into it that hurt Cincinnati from that standpoint.
Conman says, hello, ladies. Ricky Smith says that Mike Tomlin has had his eyes on Malik Willis, and he was high on his list. Mitchell Trubisky has been reported to have signed with the Steelers. Neither Mason Rudolph nor Dwayne Haskins is the answer there. I do
completely agree. I completely agree. I think if they haven't been cut yet today, they're going to get cut soon or moved or something. But I completely agree. Neither one of them was his long-term answer. So, and I don't know that Mitch is their long-term answer. I think he makes a lot of sense because he's got experience. He's not the priciest quarterback on the market. And so he can do what they need him to do. And if it's just to tread water until Malik Willis is ready to start, then it'll be what it'll be, right? So, yeah, the Steelers were definitely eyeballing him last week. We'll see.
So, all right, we got to take a quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
Hey, yo, Cleveland, it's about that time. Listen real close as I drop this dime. If you're a high school grad or college enrolled, here is something you need to be told. Getting through college can be real tough. Sometimes you don't really have enough to pay for books, to pay for food, to pay for laundry. And that ain't cool, because you gotta be fed and you gotta be clean. You gotta have the tools to support your dreams. If you didn't know, then
patients with COVID long haul syndrome often seek medical help, but their symptoms are not recognized as being COVID related. The impact on patients' health can range from mild to totally debilitating. After the initial COVID infection, there are several symptoms that may indicate long haul COVID or COVID-19 syndrome. These symptoms are shortness of breath, coughing and fever, fatigue and exhaustion, brain fog, atypical chest pain and palpitations, behavioral health issues like depression and anxiety, difficulties with cognition and memory, insomnia and other sleep problems, generalized pain and muscle aches, joint pain and impaired mobility, persistent loss of smell and taste, headaches, diarrhea, skin rashes. To receive more information on post-COVID or long haul syndrome, visit WOVU.org. Click on the banner at the top of the page and complete a brief survey. This message is brought to you by WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, Burtonville Carr Community Radio.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm here with Cleveland Kate, and we were just talking some NFL football. So not only has the Browns, had some news that's dropped, but also somebody said that they are not going to retire just yet. They rescinded their retirement, and I'm sure that the employee couldn't be more than happy for that happening. So Tom Brady has announced that he will be back for his 23rd year in the NFL. He's returning back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cleveland Kate, what are your thoughts about Tom Brady unretiring?
Listen, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Like, I understand that gas prices are a little crazy right now. But are you trying to tell me Tom Brady ain't got enough put away that he can afford gas in his car? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You just retired a month ago. How are you going to change your mind? Well, you spent a month at home with the wife and kids and you're like, nah, I need to get back on the road. I don't get it. The only reason he's coming out of retirement, in my opinion, is because a team reached out to him and offered him stupid money to come back and play. So now he's got to play the game. He's got to say, you know what? I'm going to unretire and I'm going to come back. And now let's see where he ends up. Because there's no other reason for it. It's frankly, it's embarrassing.
He said he's
I'm
going
sorry.
back to Tampa Bay.
It's embarrassing. He can't go back to Tampa Bay.
Why can't he?
Because he ain't got no contract with Tampa Bay.
He said they got unfinished business.
Oh, are you kidding me? Is that what he said?
He said that on Instagram.
I ain't follow Tom Brady on Instagram. I ain't got time for really.
I don't either.
Hold on, let me go look. Last night at 7:30. Oh, damn, he is going back to Tampa Bay. Somebody called and gave him some money. Girl, you know Bruce Arians or somebody called and offered him some money. That's crazy. I just don't. I don't.
Is this really surprising?
I never thought it does. I never thought of Tom Brady as being like an attention hound. Aaron Rodgers could do this and it would not surprise me. That boy's a little bit crazy anyway. Broke up with Shailene Woodley. I don't know what's going on with his hair. I'm glad he went back to Green Bay. Nobody got time for that anywhere else. He's a little bit weird, right? I'm starting to put Aaron Rodgers in my camp of weird people. I got a few people in that camp already, right? Kyrie Irving's in that camp for me. You know why? You got some weird people over here. I thought Tom Brady was a grown-up who would really think about the decision, and when he made it, he would make it, and he would think about it, he would be ready, and that would be it. And now he's coming back. Child, please. What am I supposed to do with your letter saying you weren't coming back, your retirement letter? Do I just pretend that never happened? I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like anything like this. So I get upset when high school students say they're going to go play at one school and then change their mind and go somewhere else. Like, you committed. You signed a letter of intent. You said you were going to go. Now you're not going to go. It's the same thing. Tom Brady signed a letter of intent to retire, and now he's changed his mind. I am surprised. I thought he was a grown-up. I thought he was a professional. Apparently I was wrong.
Well, he said he was going to play until 45, and I think he just should have stuck with that.
Well, he couldn't do the math? He thought the math was, oh, wait, I'm old. I can play another year. I'm not 45 yet. Math is math, Rachel. He knows how old he is.
That's where he had been at all these years. He always said he wanted to retire at 45, play till he's 45. And I honestly thought that he was going to do that. So when he decided to retire, I think that took everybody back, because even when he retired, I was like, man, he should have just waited till he was 45. That's just one more season. But, I don't know what the man's motivations are. He got a lot of money. He has a wife that has a lot of money. So I don't.
Yeah, my guess is he retired and the Buccaneers did their due diligence and looked at what their options were on the market, and they couldn't get Aaron Rodgers and they couldn't get Russell Wilson. I still don't know why Russell Wilson's going to Denver. And they couldn't get any other big names. And they're like, yo, T, that retirement you did, like, can you please come back? Well, your children's children will never have to work again. Come on. Yeah. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, we already know that, but
we didn't talk last week. Russell Wilson to Denver, girl.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a very interesting fit to put him in that division. I know the other teams in that division are not happy. The fans of other teams in that division are not happy because he immediately makes the Broncos part of the conversation. So they've been, in my mind, they are better than their record has said they are the last couple years, and their biggest problem has been at the quarterback position. It's a hot mess. Yeah, and adding Russell Wilson in, they were 7-10 last year without a decent quarterback, and now you got to go deal with the Chargers. Willie probably has some thoughts about this with his Vegas team and then the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that means the quarterbacks, let's say quarterbacks in that division, Pat Mahomes, David Carr. Who's the Chargers quarterback?
Brett, was it Herbert? Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. And now Russell Wilson. It's an interesting mix of quarterbacks. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to that division now. You know what I mean? So I like it for Russell. It's an interesting fit. I knew the Broncos needed to land somebody that with this draft class being what it is, and they've had almost as much trouble at quarterback the last few years as we have the last 20.
They're up there with the Browns. They're up there.
Yeah, so they've struggled. It'll be interesting to see how he likes the altitude, how what it does for his passing game. How to improve that will be fun to watch.
We have some comments back on the Tampa Bay.
Of course
thing.
we do.
Tom Brady is doing his favorite Brett. He's doing his best Brett Favre imitation. That's Ricky Smith. Damian Hernandez says Tom has 2 years left on his contract with the Bucs. George Bendicki says TB12 coming back to play is who cares, and he's the only one who can explain why he reversed course. Yeah, that's very true. Those things are very true. But I think the Russell Westbrook thing is very interesting as well. I don't know if I foresaw him and his wife being in Denver. I think it's kind of a crazy move, but I don't think the Browns really made a play for him at all. I think that there, might have been some conversations, but I would have been fine with the Browns making a play for him. But Russell is 33. He's been knocked down a lot, but he wanted to come to an offensive line that was going to hold up for him, and that's something that the Cleveland Browns, has one of the best offensive lines, in the NFL. So we should have been on one of his lists to come to, but he decided to go to snowy Denver, and it is what it is. But I also think that it's a very interesting selection as well, which changes that AFC West, which is already wild as well. You throw another good quarterback in the mix, it's gonna, a lot of fans are gonna be excited about some of those games that are going to be taking place. So I think the Washington football team. I'm not going to call them the Commanders or whatever that is because it's ridiculous, shameful, almost as bad as Guardians. I think they made a serious play for him, and I think at the end of the day, and I wish it was something that he would make public, but I truly believe, and I might know a couple people who know a couple people, at the end of the day that he refused to play for that owner. Oh, okay. As a man of color, I believe he refused to play for that team and that owner, and I wish from a societal standpoint that if that's true, he would come out and say it. He ain't trying to be blackballed. He got a job in Denver. He got a contract. Girl, you know how the NFL people do. Sometimes I know. It ain't safe. I know, but it's until you call it out and point a finger at it and you know what I mean? It's going to keep happening. And I think that owner and that team is the very worst the NFL has to offer from that standpoint. And I wish somebody would do something about it, but it is what it is. That's just my belief. So we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do. There's a whole bunch of teams that, quarterback carousel's going on. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that the Titans want Tannehill, are going to let Tannehill go or move him. So we'll see. George, we'll see. I'm good with Baker. I want another year of Baker. I want a year of Baker healthy before I have to start thinking about who my starting quarterback's going to be. But you've only had one good year with Baker. I want a year of healthy Baker. Is that too much to ask for? It's not a lot to ask for. I think it's, it's a basement ceiling, but if you, I see them lashes. But if you don't get a good year with healthy Baker, are you willing to accept that and be ready to move on? Yes. And accept that he's as good as he's ever going to be. I want 10, 11 wins next year and nothing less than second place in the AFC North, or I'm ready to move on. Second place, that might be kind of tough. Man. I'm willing to take second place to the team that just went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I was about to say, you still got Baltimore. Lamar will be back. I ain't scared of Lamar. I ain't scared of Mitch Trubisky and Pets. Ain't nothing in Baltimore or Pittsburgh that scares me. There isn't really anything in Cincinnati that scares me because we have living rent free in their heads. They can't get past us, and I'm good with that. But they're gonna beat some teams that we're not gonna beat this year. So I'm okay. I'm projecting a second place finish in the AFC North. If things go well from a health standpoint, but that's what I need from Baker in order for me to be 100% keeping him. Let's do it. Get him money, pay the man. He needs to do something to get paid.
because this year surely didn't get him paid. There was nothing I saw this year. I don't care about gutsy play and playing when you're injured. You hurt that team more than you help that team by playing. You did nothing that makes me want to tell Jimmy Haslam to spend his money on you, because it ain't our money, it's Jimmy's money. Nothing I saw this year makes me want Jimmy to spend money on Baker. So I'm going to need, if he wants to get paid, I'm going to need at least 11 wins, and I'm going to need at least second place in our division.
Baker has realized himself, he lost himself millions of dollars as well, too, by
Yes.
play as well.
But that's the problem with Baker. Baker's game is so much in his head that what I'm afraid this year is going to do is he is going to be trying so hard to prove himself to get his money that he's going to be overdoing it. He's going to be trying too hard. He's going to make stupid mistakes, and we're going to go back to the turnover machine that we saw before.
So George also says that with Russell Westbrook coming to Denver, the AFC West will be like the North, and they'll just beat up each other in conference play. So that's kind of true.
I mean, it's a very tough conference, a very tough division right now. It is arguably the toughest division in football.
Still the best division, the toughest division.
No.
Okay. So we can be willing to let that go. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our final break. You are listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM, and we are going to be right back.
Newsroom, I'm TC Lewis. The city of Cleveland is holding a special event Tuesday evening as part of a day of remembrance and resilience for COVID-19 victims and survivors at 7 p.m. at Cleveland Music Hall on Lakeside Avenue. Mayor Justin Bibb, along with Cuyahoga County Executive Armin Budish, Dr. Mary Mason, local COVID-19 survivors will gather to reflect on those that have been lost due to the pandemic and to uplift those that have recovered. First responders and essential workers will also be acknowledged during the event. At 6 p.m., downtown Bridges and surrounding neighborhoods will be lit with amber lights as a show of solidarity in recognizing the city's comeback and to recognize lives lost, according to a press release from City Hall. Hospitals, schools, community centers, government agencies, and businesses are encouraged to display names of those impacted by the pandemic throughout the day. Several local churches will be open for prayer services at noon. From the WOVU Newsroom, I'm TC Lewis.
Cleveland, we know you have something to say. We know there are things on your mind you've been itching to get out. Call the WOVU Talkback line, 216-200-7848, and tell us what it's all about. Tell us what's bothering you. Tell us what makes you happy. Tell us what you want to hear on WOVU. Call or text the WOVU Talkback line, 216-200-7848. This is WOVU, our voices united. We can't do what we do without you.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am here with my girl, Cleveland Kate. So remember, if you want to join the conversation, you can join us at 216-271-0959. You can listen to us on regular radio at 95.9. You can listen to us online at WOVU.org. And also don't forget to download that WOVU app so you can take us with you on the go. So Cleveland Kate, we've done some NFL talk. Let's move on. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers who are playing tonight. I just forgot who they were playing against. I just had it up. But they suffered 2 losses in a row. Do you think that the Cleveland Cavaliers can bounce back?
Hey, honey, who are the Cavs playing tonight?
The Clippers.
Clippers?
They're playing the Clippers tonight. Do you think they can bounce back?
Do you think they can bounce back from that 2 losses in a row? My husband is Cavs fanatic. Like, he is living, breathing. He is so excited about the Cavs. I love to talk Cavs with him.
We get more guards back.
We need some people back off injured reserve, off the injured list.
Karis
We
LeVert
got
is
some
back
issues.
tonight.
Karis LeVert's back tonight, baby. Karis LeVert. That's gonna make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I trust him on that kind of stuff. It's just been for me so depressing since the All-Star break because they rolled into that All-Star break and they were looking so good, and now they're just, we'd win two, then we'd lose two, then we'd lose four, then we'd win some. So it's just been really sketchy, and it's been a lot of injuries. The last couple losses to the Bulls and the Heat were big, like 10 or more point losses, and those I struggle with. Their wins have been a little closer. I mean, the win against the Raptors, but was that a week ago, like 104 to 95, 96 or something. I mean, that was a pretty decisive win. They barely got past the Pacers again. I don't know why the Pacers are giving us such a hard time. But then there were losses before that, and it's just, I think the injuries have been really rough on them since the break. I thought they'd have a rough comeback at first, you know what I mean, with a little bit, because they were in a group, they were in a flow, things were moving, and then you get that break. And even though it was here, so they didn't have to travel and deal with that, I'm like, there's gonna be a little bit of that rust from being off for like a week, 10 days. But it's been a lot more than I expected. The injuries have been rough. I don't know. I was feeling better about things going into the All-Star break than I am right now. I'm looking at the standings, and I'm just like, we're still, third? Where are they at? I had them up. Third in our division. I think we're still looking at a playoff, sixth seed now?
Yeah, we're the 6th seed, and it's
Sixth seed. I mean, we're only 3 games behind the Bulls. It doesn't hurt that we lost to them because that hurts. So we're 3.5 games back in Milwaukee, so it is what it is. But we're 3 games behind the Bulls, and that's where I'd like to see us step up one, is if we can get up ahead of them, and we've got time. I think we see them again. So, I mean, there's still some time left. What are we? 38 and 29. I mean, I thought they'd get to 50 wins. I don't think they will now.
Yeah, I'm not thinking so either. But supposedly they have an easier part of the schedule coming up. I'm not really seeing it based on the games that we have left. But supposedly their schedule is a little bit easier because they have coming up. So they play the Clippers tonight, but they play Philly on Wednesday, and I'm not sure.
And again, Philly's one of those teams that it's like, why can we not beat them? They're not that good. We should be rolling all over them.
They got Denver coming up, so they should be able to beat Denver. They got Detroit coming up. Detroit has posed to be a matchup problem as well because the last two times we played them in Detroit, we were beaten by them. So, having them at home.
Got the Lakers at home.
Yeah.
Right. Got the Lakers at home, and then we travel up to Canada for the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bulls again. That game is going to be huge. That's on March 26th, a Saturday. That's a game where we can make a move in the standings.
Yeah. Then Orlando, they should be able to beat Orlando. Then Dallas at home, and then ATL, they should be able to beat ATL on the road. But the thing is, the Cavs went from the hunters to being the hunted as well. Teams take the Cavaliers seriously now. So, you're not, just sitting players and all that other stuff. So, that's one of the things is that, as they ascended, teams started bringing their best against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And unfortunately, at the worst time, they had injuries, and at a crucial stretch, Darius Garland went down, and that back could continue to be a problem. But also losing Jared Allen, is huge, but losing Karis LeVert after you just acquired him, him going down, and he's supposed to be, one of your spot up shooters, supposed to be able to, get his. And, you just don't have that, you didn't have, he's, in comparison to Colin Sexton a little bit, to be able to get points and get, things off the dribble, but you haven't had that, people being able to create their own shots. So, we've watched the offense, struggle to get back in the flow. But the good thing is, Darius has had, a couple games, averaging over 29 points and him stepping up. But we need other Cleveland Cavaliers to do the same as well. Kevin Love started the other day, which I thought was really interesting because, our bench had been one of the best benches, coming off the bench. But I guess, JB was like, hey, I need Kevin Love in the starting lineup to produce points instead of waiting for him to do so. So, I like that change. But I thought that the Cavs were going to be able to get to 50 wins. I'm not so sure. We're still, keep hope alive, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to 50 wins. But
I mean, these home games matter. They're definitely better at home than they are on the road. They are like 20-10 or 20-11 at home.
Good road team, though.
They used to be, and that's changed. They're dead. They're hitting 500 on the road. They're 18-18 on the road. So it's like you were better on the road, and now you've caught up with it. But Darius Garland's averaging over 21 points a game. Jared Allen was hitting almost 11 rebounds a game. Darius's assists were up over 8. And then Evan's still getting close to 2 blocks a game. I mean, their individual stats are good. Their turnover stats are amazing. I think they're like top 5 in the league for the lowest number of turnovers. So they're protecting the ball. But all of these numbers have taken a hit in the last 10 days. So they just need to shake it off and get it right and get it going again. I think getting LeVert back tonight will be a big thing. Getting some of their teammates back is going to help. Getting people back into their regular role is going to help. I think as young as this team is and as new as they are to playing together, with you lost Rubio and then you had to add Rondo and you have all that other stuff going on, that they're not comfortable when somebody's injured and out and everyone's got to shift to cover a different, play a different role and do different things. And as people come back and then players can get back to where their normal playing position is and what they're comfortable with. Kevin did fine starting, but he's the 6th man right now and he looked okay, but I wouldn't have him starting very much. He needs to get back to coming off the bench because that's the groove he's gotten into this year. That's the formula that's been working. And we had to change that up because of these injuries, not because other people weren't playing well, but because of injuries. And that's been that's been really difficult for this team. And we managed to do really well the first half of the season, despite the injuries. Now we're going to see what JB can do with them to get their heads back in it for the second half of the season. And I say first half and second half because usually the all-star game's in the middle. In normal sports, it is. In basketball, it's like what, the first 2/3 and the last third or something? I mean, it's not really half. It's past the halfway point. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm excited for what's going to happen for them. And, who knows? They have some opportunities to maybe gain some ground on some of these other teams and possibly, be better than the 6th seed because they're supposedly have one of the easiest schedules. Maybe they can actually gain some ground. And that would be a good thing because if the playoffs started today, they would be matching up against Philadelphia, which has kind of been a matchup nightmare for them. And especially matching up against Joel Embiid with no Jared Allen to be able to play any strong defense on him, that would be a huge problem. And James Harden, that team has just been clicking. I mean, they got beat the other night, by the Nets or what have you, but that team has been clicking on all cylinders. And that's not a team that I would want to face right now in the playoffs because they probably send us home very early. And I wouldn't want to face the 76ers.
I mean, I'm looking at their splits on the stat sheet now by month for this season: October, November, December, January, February, and then March. There's the biggest thing that jumps out at me as being the problem the last few weeks is their 3-point percentage. They're down to 30%. They were knocking on 40% for the last 3-4 months. You know what I mean? And now they're down to 30, which means they're not shooting the 3 right. And part of that's a personnel thing because the guys that were shooting the 3 are injured. And I think part of that is there's a little bit of desperation at times going on that JB needs to curb. He needs to talk to some of these players and be like, yo, dude, chillax, do better, do better with your shot selection. You don't need to take the 3s. When we're driving the lane and passing the ball and moving it around is when we're at our best.
Yeah, and also they haven't been able to get off some of these to good starts at all, too. You look at some of the past games, just watching the games against the Heat as well as Chicago, they didn't get off to good starts as well. So that's something that,
Yeah,
I
you
realized
can't
it was on the road.
you can't start out 12, 15 points down and dig yourself out of it. If you can get off to a good start in the first and you lose it a little bit going into the halftime, you can come back from that. But when you start out, it seems to give you this mentality of now I'm in desperation mode, like from jump, and I've got to be doing it. And you don't. You just have to one possession at a time, defend it, take the ball away, and then shoot your shot. So, we'll see.
Yeah, and a lot of those shots were
I was looking at free throw percentage. Darius is over 90%. I love Darius Garland. Have I told you how much I love Darius Garland?
No, but you can tell me next Monday.
Girl, I'll tell you next Monday. Is it that time already?
It's that time. Time flies when you're having fun. So we got to get out of here. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support as always. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle, and for Cleveland Kate and for the First Lady of Sports, we are out of here.
We need music.
We don't hear it, but Chris Styles is playing it. But we are out of here. Thank you, Cleveland Kate. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, girl.
Bye.
Next week, you're still here, right? It's the week after. Do you need me to come in studio and do my thing?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I may come in next week just so you can show me what I need to do the week after.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about that because Chris said he don't want to run the... Hold on, let me end the broadcast.